Hello, everyone, and welcome back from the break. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you actually got up and walked around because I'm telling you, it helps. Now, if you're just joining us, quick note, we will have a recording available within 24 hours. So if you missed anything this morning, feel free to continue watching because we're not at the workshopping portion yet. You'll still get a lot of value, but if you want to decide to start from the beginning, recording will be available. Resources are also available underneath the player in the resources section. If you have any questions for our presenter, Qasim, go ahead and put those in Go to your browser, pigeonhole.at, using the code DMWorkshop. And those will go straight to Qasim, and we will have a Q&A here shortly after this section is completed. But I'll talk to you soon. Go ahead and kick it back to Qasim.
We're going to dive right back into the next phases. I hope you had a chance to go over your estimates and projections. One quick note, if you're looking at your viability study and it doesn't look viable, there are ways to massage those numbers. So using the example that we just had with the attorney, you notice that there was a window from 16 to 50. And so what I'd start doing is playing with that window and seeing where I would need to land in order to make it profitable. And now one of my new key performance indicators is what my cost per click ends up being. So don't be discouraged if the numbers are horribly wrong. And remember also that there's that big window of variance. So this is just to make sure that we're in a semi-profitable ballpark. And that your margins are adequate enough to support a paid ad campaign. A lot of folks have trouble with this. Like if you're drop shipping cell phone cases, chances are you're not going to make enough money in order to justify that type of campaign. That's what this exercise is meant to sort of guard against. Right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some very light on-site recommendations. This is not a comprehensive list of everything that you need to do, but I do want to make a few notes as to best practices that we've been able to identify. When somebody lands on your site, this is the very first point that you actually get to control the entire environment, the entire ecosystem. So you need to make sure that you're defining clearly what pages they're going to. For brand campaigns or remarketing campaigns, which we'll talk more about, you can send them to your homepage, that's fine. But for anything that's product or service specific, they have to go to a product or service specific page. They have to. Now, if you're using one sort of pseudo-generic page to send multiple services to, that's okay while testing. So if I'm an auto mechanic, and auto mechanics offer 500,000 things, I might just have my services page up until I find out like, oh, oil change and tire rotation are my two hottest services, and then I'll spin off additional pages for those. But I at least need a sub-page dedicated to services. So we need to make sure that you're sending them somewhere that maintains continuity with the offer of the ad. Your pages have to have a clear statement of value. Don't just go online and define who you are. Let them know what it is that they're going to get from you. And then you need as many conversion conduits as you can. Realize that people like to convert in different ways. Somebody's going to want to call you. Somebody else will fill out a forum. Somebody else would rather chat. Somebody else is going to download. Somebody wants to schedule online. Somebody else would rather schedule in person. So as many conversion opportunities as you can make available, as long as they're feasible for your business model, make those accessible. Use as much social proof as you possibly can. Logos of businesses you've worked with, testimonials, case studies. The more social proof you can use, the better. And don't just relegate it to one strip on your site. Sprinkle social proof throughout the site and throughout pages. And then make sure it's mobile friendly. Google's going to penalize you if you don't have a mobile friendly site. Some best practices. You have to use, no, I can't say you have to. My recommendation is to use separate thank you pages for all conversion points. What that means is if somebody goes to your Contact Us page and they fill out the Contact Us page, they should subsequently be brought to a new page called Thank You-Contact Us. That way, if they fill out this form, they go to this page because that's the best way to track conversions. I'm going to teach you how to do this. There are other ways to track conversions, but they're not nearly as reliable, and they're actually more difficult to set up. Setting up separate thank you pages tends to be the easiest for form fills. Call tracking software. We use call tracking metrics. I'm not going to go over call tracking metrics on this workshop because it's far too deep a dive, and they've already got some phenomenal education. But if you're taking phone calls, you have to track the calls that are coming in for the cleanest reporting. Now, if you're just getting started and this intimidates you a little bit, it's okay to leave it out for now. But what I would recommend is looking into, and there's other ones, call tracking metrics, call rail, high level. Adding call tracking allows you to measure the efficacy of your phone call leads, which in my experience tends to be about 20 to 30% of our lead flow. You have to have a privacy policy on your site in order to be compliant with Google's terms of service. You have to use Google's site speed optimization if you're looking to improve your site speed. You'll have a lot of developers that don't like Google's site speed test because it doesn't take into account latent loading. the issue you're going to run into is your ad rank and quality scores being dictated by what Google thinks your site speed is, not by what your site speed actually is. So use their site speed test if you want to optimize your site speed. And then always use an SSL certificate. You need to be going to HTTPS, not HTTP. Google will let you run ads to HTTP, but it's greatly limited. That actually leads me to answering a question that we received during the break. Somebody asked, is this white hat? And I need to make it very apparent that nothing we're saying here is anywhere near black hat. I'm a big proponent for maintaining compliance inside of the legalese, let's say, of what Google requires. When I say we're breaking the rules, I just mean that Google tells you to push this button and pull this lever this way, and I'm going to tell you to do it that way, which is the way that actually works. So we're not doing anything that's going to get you into trouble. I don't think you can hack Google or outsmart them. Even when there are loopholes, Google tends to kind of A, reverse engineer those pretty quickly, and then B, they'll penalize you for it. So it doesn't make sense to try to cheat. So 100% white hat. Thank you so much for that question, by the way. And if you have other questions, lob them over the fence. I think that that's going to really contribute to the value of this call.